All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. This is Three the Hard Way, episode 5. We back at you with some more basketball knowledge. What's good, y'all? How y'all been?
Been good, chilling.
Yeah, man, it's been a busy week, man. What y'all been up to?
Aftermath of
feel
the
like
Capitol.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It felt like this week flew by because of that.
Definitely. So it's been a very busy week in the basketball world, and the trade that everybody's been waiting for finally happened yesterday, which was James Harden to Brooklyn. The Nets and a bunch of other teams just pretty much gave the Rockets their future for the next 10 to 15 years with all them draft picks. So James Harden went to Brooklyn. Karis LeVert goes to Indiana. Victor Oladipo goes to Houston. And Jarrett Allen and who was the other guy that went to the Cavs? There was
Torian
another guy.
Prince.
Torian Prince. Torian Prince went to the Cavaliers, and I think Dante Exum, which I forgot he was in the league.
Yeah,
too,
Exum went to the Rockets.
Oh yeah, so he got sent away too. So thoughts on the trade, man? How do y'all feel about this whole situation?
Denise, you want to start it off?
I was just gonna say it came super unexpected. Because I know we're all on a group chat, so we had our own ideas of what was initially gonna go down. And at first I will say I thought that the Rockets turned nothing into something. Like they kind of did something that only my grandma can do. If I'm hungry at her house and I open the fridge and there's nothing, but I tell her I'm hungry and she just like cooks up like this fucking meal where I'm like, how'd you do that? You didn't have nothing to offer in the fridge. So that's kind of what I felt initially, but I'm not mad at it. It was they made it work.
Yeah, the Rockets definitely came out so much ahead in terms of where they were. If we talked about this last week, they kind of had their hands tied, and I think the initial thing that we kind of heard was that the Sixers deal went through, where it was like basically just Ben Simmons and a draft pick, and that was it. Because the Sixers, Morey knew that situation better than anyone because he came from that situation, has that relationship with Harden, has that relationship with that front office, and basically tried to strong arm them and just say, listen, like this is what you're going to get. You're not going to get anything better than Ben Simmons on this market. And I some rumors came in that it was executed and that it was like more or less agreed upon. And then all of a sudden Woj drops a bomb and it's like literally, I think it was 5 or 10 minutes after like that text came through on our side. The Woj hits that bomb and like, oh shit, oh man. It's like that massive blockbuster. So I would have to assume that from the Nets standpoint,
it was literally like a 5-minute.
Yeah, it's like that shit twisted real quick, and it's obviously like you see like I think Moneyball. If you guys watch the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt and how he's like plays Billy Bean, the A's manager, like that movie does a good job of kind of showing you what like a trade in the major league could kind of potentially look like, where you have like these executives like kind of calling each other, playing different players against each other, leveraging different things against each other, just waiting to get the bigger deal kind of thing. And it's like it kind of felt like that with the timing of everything with this trade. And I just you have to assume that with Brooklyn having Kevin Durant and Kyrie already lost a year due to injury. This is the second year. I think they're on like 3-year window with these guys. I think it just came down to we need to make a move. We got to really push, and we're going to miss a window if we don't. So they obviously gave up everything.
Yeah, they let go. They pretty much unloaded their whole roster for an out of shape basketball player. So, I think this is one of those instances that every team won this trade. I feel like every team got a little bit of something that they needed or wanted out of it. Houston in this scenario, they needed him gone, and they needed draft picks. They needed a future, so they got it. They got, I think, 8 first-round picks throughout the next decade. So that's going to be something to watch out for the Houston Rockets. If you're a Houston Rocket fan, like you guys have a lot of draft picks, and that sometimes that could be something that's really bad or really good, depending on who your GM is and who the president of the team is. But I think Houston now, like with that roster, especially with that starting five of Oladipo, John Wall, PJ Tucker, Christian Wood, and DeMarcus Cousins, if they start DeMarcus Cousins at center. I think that team has the potential to be one of the better defensive teams in the league. It'll be weird to see because I still don't think they make the playoffs, but I think Houston can be like a top 10, 13 defensive team in the league with those guys. They have a lot of active. Oh, Eric Gordon's on that team as well, too. I forgot Eric Gordon's still there. So, like, you still have a lot of guys that can defend multiple positions and do a lot on the defensive end, but it'll be weird to see a potentially good defensive team not even make the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's I love all of the shit talk that's coming out from Houston's side of just how shitty of a teammate James Harden was. And it's something that we had like talked about a little bit. I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before, but it's like it's a rumor if you only hear it once. There's a little bit of truth or a pattern. There's a little truth comes to light if it becomes a pattern and multiple people come up and say these exact same types of things. And it's like Cousins and Wall both said like, yo, like fuck this dude kind of thing, like in a sense.
And Eric Gordon spoke about it today too.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon spoke about
which
it
that guy's
too,
never said more than like 3 words publicly. So that says a lot.
I've never seen Eric Gordon at a podium ever in my life.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
But it was only a matter of time before that happened, man. They needed to get him out of there. It was a bad situation. That final game that he was there and he went to that press conference and he said, like, yo, he pretty much said, yo, we suck. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
Those are pretty
There's nothing
much
I can
words.
do.
Like,
I did everything I could. There's nothing I can do. This team is a lost cause or some shit.
And that caused a little bit of controversy because Shaq today said that James Harden actually didn't do everything that he could for Houston. And that just goes into what we spoke about Shaq last week about him just like hating everything that everybody does and nothing is ever enough for him. Like me personally, just from watching James Harden there in Houston, he was there for what, 8 years, James Harden? Like 8, 9 years he was in Houston. James Harden did everything he possibly could to win with that team. Like, I don't know what else people wanted from him. Like, the man led the leagues in scoring, 3-4 times.
Yeah.
He averaged over 30 points, like 5 seasons in a row.
Got an MVP.
Got an MVP. He's been runner-up in MVP like 2 times in that same time frame. Like, the guy did everything he possibly could for that franchise with he had Dwight Howard at one point when Dwight Howard was still a starter in the league. He had Chris Paul. He had Russell Westbrook. He had John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins for a little bit. So
let's talk about those Chris Paul years. I mean, they took Golden State to 7 with Chris Paul and James Harden. That's it. Like that Warrior team was loaded. KD.
That was the Kevin Durant there.
Yeah, like that's why that's crazy. I mean, I will say, I mean, James Harden, even though he is 35 pounds overweight, he's still top 2 players in the league in terms of scoring. He's gonna give it to you every night. Like, so.
But I think, and I don't think that's I don't think anyone, when they're addressing like rumors about him not being a good teammate or him not having like good character, I don't think it's taking anything away from his game. I think it's just because didn't we hear also like in December, didn't he throw like the ball to one of his teammates because he got frustrated? Yeah. So and then
I think it was to Jayshawn Tate. I think it was one of the new guys.
Like, you can't do that either. I totally get it.
They got in a fight, right? In practice.
Well, it was like a verbal confrontation, and then that escalated to like
I guess
verbal
he threw the ball.
Really
means. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got into an actual fight and they watered it down for us.
Yeah.
But the guy didn't want to be in Houston, man. The guy didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. This trade should have happened the first week of the season, and you would have completely avoided all this drama that came in the last 3 weeks of the season. Now, like, you had him there. He could have potentially ruined the chemistry with that team that's there now with Christian Wood and John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and all of them. Like, he could have potentially ruined all of that. Maybe he did. Who knows? I guess we'll only find out as the season progresses and we see how they play without him. But you could kind of tell that he didn't want to be there, man. Like he was averaging like 16 points a game in this last like 5-6 games. He wasn't shooting, he wasn't doing anything. Like in that final game he played there was one possession that he was looking for someone to pass the ball to, and nobody was open, and he kind of just like threw the ball away. And if John
Mm,
Wall wasn't paying attention, the ball would have went out of bounds. Like he
mhm.
literally just tossed it and was like, "All right, somebody go get that shit."
I mean, I don't know. I think like the big argument that that people have been having this week is does a fully engaged James Harden make up for the bullshit you have to deal with off the court or like on the side, like out of, when it's not game time, like, you know what I'm saying, as a shitty teammate, as a, you know, a negative influence within your locker room. And I don't know. I'm one of those people
I
that
think
I don't think it does. I think it does matter, and I don't think that it is like I wouldn't want that in my organization if I was a GM, right? Like obviously he is an amazing player, but I don't think that's going to get you to a championship. And obviously we saw that. Even though I think the reason why they didn't make it to the finals when they lost to Golden State is because Chris Paul got hurt.
yeah.
But I would have to say that the Chris Paul leadership is what balanced out that Houston team as opposed to James
Mhm.
Harden's greatness. So it's like,
Yeah,
for me,
I
I
agree.
think we have a more transparent sample is the fact that James Harden is not going to win you a chip. It has to be somebody else.
And then
He can
and it
help
makes
and
things that
assist in it.
Hell yeah, he could be the biggest part. He could be a big part of it, but he's not going to be the one that gets you over the hump.
yeah, and it sucks because of everything he accomplished when he was in Houston.
Yeah.
It sucks to see that someone that can do so much on the offensive end and that can terrorize defenses for an entire season. Like it sucks that he can't win a championship on his own. Like it sucks to say, but it's true. Like the man can't win by himself. It's been proven. He's had a lot of help there and he's never won. So now it's going to be interesting to see it in Brooklyn. So now, where do you guys rank Brooklyn now in the East with this James Harden trade? All things considered, like, do you think that his bad temperament behavior carries over into Brooklyn, or do you think all is forgiven and it's like a fresh start now in Brooklyn?
I mean, I don't think it's all forgiven. I do think that he's playing with people he's never really. I mean, the only person he's played with on that team is Kevin Durant, right? So it's like, and obviously, like they had a good. From all that we know, we've never heard negative things about James Harden. All we heard about Oklahoma City was kind of the conflict between Russ and KD. So it's like we don't really know if there was conflict between Harden but also Harden was a sixth man. It's a totally different mindset for him. I'm assuming it's a totally different role. I think it's going to be super interesting to see how they work this ball dominance out. I mean, like I don't know. They're definitely the best team in the East. Like if you want to just sit there and put it on paper, those three, and you can put fucking 12 other Tyler Johnsons on that roster, they're still the best team in the East. like it's just like those are three of the top fucking 10 guys in the league. It's like
and it's just off of talent wise, and on paper, they are the best just because of names on the roster.
In the East,
just off of that alone. Yeah, in the East.
Because there's been a lot of conversation of like, with this trade, are they the best team in the NBA? And I think that's where I feel like things get lost and the conversation gets a little lost, because I know I'm a Laker fan, but if we're being completely honest and unbiased, the Lakers are still in the NBA.
You can do it. You can do it.
You know what I'm saying? With LeBron and AD on their roster, they're defending champions. They're still the best. We're literally still the best team. We are, because we got a championship. But yeah,
and that's another thing.
In case anybody forgot,
highlighted. No, and it's something else that needs to be highlighted too, because I feel like people tend to forget, like after you win a championship, just look at how easily, like now the Nets got James Harden. Now everyone is saying that they're the best and they're the favorites. Like let's be a little bit more respectful to the Lakers, the defending champions who got better, because everyone 2 years removed from the Warriors winning a championship. Everybody was before this season started. Everyone was talking about it, the Warriors had a chance of winning, and everyone still held them to that same standard. So like we still have to hold everybody to that same standard. Like let's be a little bit more respectful to the previous champion because everybody still holds the Warriors to that same standard, even though they clearly suck right now.
Yeah.
Facts. And I would also add that yes, the Nets do have like unlimited firepower with like KD, Harden, and Kyrie, but they're still like these guys are going to be fighting for the ball because to the high, they're so dominant on offense that I feel like their defense is going to be very interesting to figure out. Like that's actually something that I'm interested to see, like how that chemistry is going to roll out, because it's not, you have 3 huge egos that are literally going to be fighting for the spotlight. So
I mean,
it's going to be entertaining for sure.
Yeah. As Steve Nash better just hope and pray that DeAndre Jordan just realizes how to protect the basket again. I mean, losing Jared Allen, if I was them, with the roster construction that you currently have, to me, it would have made more sense to get rid of Karras and Dinwiddie and as much else, like even like the French, the Karawu, I forget his name, the French guy, but like give up as much as you can, but keep Jared Allen because these motherfuckers aren't playing. Like Kevin Durant claims that he plays defense, but no offense, Kevin Durant, no one's afraid of you. Like, no, I'm not. No. I wouldn't even be afraid of going to the basket against you. You'd still block me, but I wouldn't think twice. Whether that's a testament to you or me, I don't know. But I'm just saying, he's not intimidating. No, hell no. Jared Allen is probably the best glue guy in the league. He gets like 13 rebounds a game, gets like 2 or 3 blocks a game, and it just doesn't give a shit. He'll clean up everything in the basket.
Yeah, because and we spoke about it last time. Like he's not afraid of getting in there and mixing it up. He's not afraid of getting dunked on. Yeah, he's not afraid of it.
Yeah, so it's like for me, I think I do think that the original question was, are they the best in the East? To me, no question. I think,
but even then, we're still giving it a ton of credit before actually seeing them step.
Well, you have 2 NBA champions on that team. Don't forget.
No, I get that. I'm not discrediting, their individual talents. I'm just saying we haven't even seen that chemistry roll out. I'm agreeing with them being the best in the East.
Yeah, okay.
On paper, but they're getting so much credit without us even actually seeing how they're going to perform and mesh.
I mean, they all played on they played on the Dream Team, the USA team together. So it's like there is familiarity there between each other. And I mean, I personally haven't gone back and looked at those splits between the Olympics and like the Summer Olympics to see how they actually did play together. However, I mean, I think we all know that, in our respective sports, like when you play with really high caliber, talented people, you're all just somehow just miraculously become on the same page. Like it really isn't as complicated as a lot of people make it seem. I think it does become complicated in the playoffs when you actually have to play defense. You actually have to make adjustments at half. You got to
run plays.
Yeah, like in the playoffs, yes, it makes sense. But in terms of this season, in terms of them getting out of the East, like I think that it's there's
so
no
do you guys have them? So do you guys have them coming out of the East?
Yes.
I do.
How about you, Denise? Yeah, I'm coming out.
Unless Joel Embiid turns into Shaq, like primetime Shaq, without a doubt.
So I guess I'm the only person that says Brooklyn doesn't come out the East this year. I don't think their bench is deep enough, and I don't think they have good enough defense to be able to compete with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is going to eat DeAndre Jordan alive. And then if you put Kevin Durant on him, Kevin Durant is going to get the work too. Joel, if I'm Doc Rivers now, I'm looking at that Nets roster and I'm saying, if we run into them in the playoffs, Joel Embiid, you do not come out the paint at any moment of the game.
But if you're Brooklyn, all you're gonna do is take DeAndre Jordan as a pick and roll the whole fucking time, and just keep putting Joel Embiid in compromising positions in the first half and try to get him 4 fouls. Like it's really not that difficult to attack the Sixers. It just isn't.
Yeah. But the Sixers are right now the best defensive team in the league right now. They've lost 2 or 3 in a row because of other issues and stuff, because of COVID and outside things. But the Sixers are the best defensive team in the league right now, with stats and everything. I think they're the only team in the NBA that are holding teams to below 100 points. I think they're the only team that's doing that so far.
Yeah, they're also running they're also running like a full half court set every fucking time down the floor.
Yeah. So they're actually they're actually preparing themselves for playoff situations now with running actual sets and plays and doing things like that. A lot of teams don't do that until the actual playoffs. So I don't think that the Nets will come out the East this year. At least not this year. I think they have to make a couple of adjustments. Like I think next year when Dinwiddie comes back, if he stays there, if they don't get rid of him or if he leaves or whatever the case is, I think with Dinwiddie coming off the bench, it adds just a whole different dynamic to them because just name me one guy off their bench right now.
Off of Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
The French dude. Karuu Terrio. Tyler Johnson is another one. I mean, they actually do have and I forget his name. I can't pronounce his name. But I can name a lot of those players, but purely because like that team is actually pretty deep. You also forget about Joe Harris, who can guard 1 through 4, 6'6". I'm just saying, there's a few players you forget about. We should obviously this is a big like part of the week. I think we can end this little piece real quick. I will say, Jimmy, I will bet you $100 that if the Nets meet the Sixers in the playoffs, the Nets are going to take them down.
Damn.
You think so?
I'm telling you, I think so much that I will put $100 on it.
That's a lot of faith.
Let's do it.
Deal.
You got yourself a bet.
Denise, witness.
Fucking do
it. Boom.
All right.
We have a first live bet here. Another guy that's on the Nets, Kyrie Irving. How do y'all feel about what Kyrie Irving pulled off this week with his team? How do y'all feel about that? Yes, another episode of Kyrie shenanigans.
So I have two different perspectives. One, it's like, damn, like these are actual protocols that you have to follow and abide by because you're putting everyone else's life at risk. You're putting everyone else's family at risk. You're just putting too much on the line, and this disease being what it is, like as deadly as it is, it's not as easy to just like take it easy with it. So, but I get that. I get the consequences that he has to face. I get the backlash that he's getting. I get that. But on the other side of things, it is so hard. And I think everyone got a taste of it during the holidays. You have to have some really thick skin. And I would have kind of expected him to have it, at his level of career and at his age. But I think that when you mix family and you start, like everyone's beliefs are a little different, it just gets so messy. Like I remember when the virus first came out in the US in March, my family was hosting a baby shower I think it was a baby shower or like a first birthday. Anyway, it was like we were getting small whispers of like what this disease is, like how scary it is, blah, blah, blah. So they still move forward with the party. This is still in March before the lockdown even happened. And I was the only one with a mask. And I'm like getting clowned on, and I'm hearing it from like my aunts and uncles, and family doesn't have line. Like they're just like going in, and you don't want to. You feel attacked, but I'm also not. I'm super respectful. I'm not gonna say anything back. I say it all to say, it's so difficult to not make your family feel like you're grossed out by them or you feel like endangered by them. We're also like a year into the virus, so like again, they should have known better. But yeah, those are the two perspectives that I see. Where from an individual standpoint, I don't know the kind of social pressures he was facing. It's not an excuse. I'm just presenting another scenario. And then from the other side, it's like, come on, dude, this is your job.
Yeah.
In case not everyone listening doesn't know off firsthand, Kyrie was seen out in public at a birthday party, which I believe was his sister's birthday party with.
It was his sister and his dad's.
Okay, so it's like it's a joint birthday party with I think like over 50 people there and like tons of photos, selfies, no one wearing a mask, just.
And this was after he said, I just don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so did he no call, no show before all this leaked?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he no call, no show a couple days before the video leaked of him at the party.
Which, if people
So
also
if
don't know what that means, sorry to interrupt you, if people don't
Yes.
also know what a no call, no show means, that is a retail term, whereas or just a general work term where you just don't show up to
Yeah.
work and you don't call nobody, which is
Yeah.
easily one of the most disrespectful, like childish things you can do as an employee. But go ahead,
Very
James.
disrespectful. Now, I'm just saying, man. Like he's. I think all he did was hit up KD. I think he hit up KD and that's it, and was like, "Yo, I'm not coming into work today." And KD, I'm pretty sure KD probably saw that text and was like, "All right, cool. I don't know."
Do you
what
think he
want me to
texted
do."
him, or do you think he called him like, bro, I don't think I can make it today? Like, do you think he like pulled out the full on like sick voice or what?
Oh, you mean like when you're like in 5th grade and you don't want to go
Yeah.
to school and you wake up with like a cough and a headache?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if if he did that, that would be funny as hell. We need to hear that.
That's some
I need
Kyrie
to hear
shit
this.
though.
If it was a phone conversation, if this ever gets to whoever he called, please let us hear that conversation. I would
Yeah.
love to hear that shit.
Yeah.
But,
Again,
Yo, you know what I just thought of though? This was recorded by one of his family members.
oh yeah.
Yes, that's messy.
Like that's also pretty. That's a whole other thing.
Well, you think maybe it was one of the employees. Maybe it was a Knicks. Maybe it was a Knicks fan who was the bartender and was like, "Let me fuck this up."
That would be some shit I'd do. Like, oh, hold on, you're here?
James, we know you would, buddy, and I would too.
I'll be right there like, ha ha.
Absolutely. Let's watch this motherfucker burn.
Man, especially after you no call, no show NBA game. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Well, I think
Like-
here's another part of that like kind of like makes my brain twitch is as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait a second. This guy is the guy getting super butthurt that people won't look at him and respect him and give him the same acclaim that LeBron has for his leadership skills. And yet this motherfucker is no call, no show. And how can you how can you request to have the respect of your peers and then not show up to work? You know what I'm saying? Like this, to me, this is my biggest issue with Kyrie is just like the blatant contradiction of verbal communication and action. Like I can't respect
I agree,
anyone, let alone someone like, I don't know, I just can't respect anybody that has like that type of hypocrisy and contradiction within their life and they just aren't intelligent enough to be aware of that.
Yeah, it's just so weird because it's very disrespectful. What he does in two ways is disrespectful. You're disrespecting your teammates, your coaches, the franchise is paying you millions of dollars by just not even coming into work. And then you're also being disrespectful and very selfish in terms of you still want to go out and party and do your own thing. Like, that's not how this works, man. Like, there's a pandemic going on outside. You have teammates that have lost family members due to, well, not teammates, but like colleagues in the NBA that have lost family members due to COVID, maybe even a couple of teammates. We don't know. We don't know everybody's stories. But you're being very disrespectful to everybody else because then it's like you expect to go out, you party, you do your thing, and then you come back like it's all good. Like, that's not how this works, man. Like, you can't just pop back up and do whatever you want when you have to report to other people. And you have to, and not only report to other people, you have to be conscious of everybody else around you because you could come back with the virus and you don't know. You could be asymptomatic and you could get people sick on your team. You could get coaches sick. They could get their family members sick. Also, like, it's just a snowball effect of everything that's going on. Is like Kyrie makes very bad decisions, and he and just from his actions that you see, he does a lot of great things, like when he paid the WNBA players salaries, when he paid like for some scholarships for some students to be able to go to school. But then you follow it up with selfish acts.
Yeah.
So it's like John said, like he's a walking contradiction. He's like Kanye West. He's the Kanye West of the NBA.
Oof.
Like he's just he says and does.
He's younger though.
He's younger.
And I think that's what it is.
There's no excuse. I hate that excuse. Kanye was just as contradicting when he was young, and he's still contradicting himself. Like, there's no excuse. These people don't learn.
I'll say this. I think that as someone who has been staying at home, doing my part and not, celebrating big moments. In that moment, he should have been a bigger leader. Yes. And you mentioned like some of the coaches that he could have infected, like those are people making money, but how about the custodians, the staff that's cleaning, that doesn't have like that money to, get the best doctors. So there's a lot of selfishness in that act. I'm not excusing it just by presenting the two perspectives. I was just showing like, all right, this is probably like one side of the social pressures he could have faced, not an excuse for it. But for whatever it's worth, it wasn't the right move this time.
Do y'all think that Kyrie should just retire from the NBA? A lot of people were saying that on social media this week because it seems like the guy just doesn't want to play basketball. It seems like basketball isn't number one in his itinerary. It seems like it comes second and third to everything else that he wants to do for whatever reason. So people were drastic enough to say he should just retire, man. Like,
I think
you
that's
got your
ridiculous.
ring, you got your money.
No, I think that's ridiculous. I think basketball is definitely his priority. I just think I don't know. It's hard to articulate kind of where I think he's at, just purely because I don't think he really knows where he's at, right? So I think that his issue is he is probably maybe mostly frustrated that he is not revered as, and not maybe not revered, but not getting the respect from fans that maybe James Harden does. Look at all the bullshit Harden is doing, and people really aren't trashing this dude the way they should be. Like Harden is really getting away with a ton of bullshit, but they're like, well, hey, the guy's a walking bucket. He's an MVP. Like da 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 da. So he really is getting a pass right now. Maybe not from us, but that's just because we like to hate. But Kyrie doesn't get a pass because he's done this too many times, and he's done more bad, like annoying, contradicting things, and he's done good things. However, basketball is, I think he's still one of the best players in the league. I think that he's
of course, yeah. But it just doesn't seem like a priority to him, just from everything that he does and says. It just doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I think
I don't think he should retire.
No, not at all. That didn't even cross my mind. I think
it's just a drastic measure from social media. You know how it is.
It was Stephen. It was in Stephen A. who said it too, and he kind of like started stirring the pot.
He said it too.
Oh hell.
Yeah, I think Stephen A. was the one that started that conversation. And he proved some valid points, right? Like he proved the whole, like basically what you said, Jimmy, around like him not being, him not prioritizing the sport, him, he touched on like his mental health and how basketball could be hurting him more than it's helping him and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you, John. I think that he is one of the best, and it's one of those where there's going to be things that you like about a player that have nothing to do with their game. And you just kind of have to like shrug your shoulders about it. Like it's when he retires and he grows old, we'll understand more what that was about. But yeah, I think that rumor should probably just stay a rumor for now, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that Kyrie documentary will be wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be very insane. Do y'all think he sages? Do y'all think he's gonna sage James Harden in the first practice? He's just gonna walk around him and like go like this, just saging.
I mean, shit. They both.
Who needs to be saged more?
That's what I was trying to get to. Is like, goddamn, they both have been living pretty reckless. I would have to say Harden probably needs it more. That dude lives in a strip club from all of the things we hear.
Yes, pretty much.
But how are the Brooklyn strip clubs?
New York.
He's gonna have a tough time finding a good one out there. He's gonna have because a lot of the strip clubs in New York have gotten shut down by the police in the city. So he's gonna have a tough time finding a good one. I haven't lived there in like 8 years, so I don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad. But James Harden might actually focus on basketball.
I didn't think about the shutdowns and regulations part of that. Texas is definitely not shut down. New York definitely is. Damn.
He's gonna go to like a strip club in somebody's apartment in Queens.
You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna start doing the Dennis Rodman thing and just flying out up to Vegas on the weekends.
True.
You're gonna fly to Atlantic City.
This man's just gonna. He's just gonna like yeah, man, that's crazy. Speaking of shutdowns and closures, I mean, how about the games that were postponed this week due to COVID, and what do you guys think the NBA should do, in terms of, should they take more strict measures and start putting out fines or like suspending players, or do you think that they just kind of do the NFL approach where it's like a hybrid of fining players and organizations and then just being like, fuck it, you're going to get sick, but we're still going to need this money, so you're going to have to figure it out?
If the guys are going to act like kids, you got to treat them like kids. Like if what it's going to take is for them to sit in a hotel room and not be in contact with other people when they're on the road, and when they're playing home games and stuff, you can't leave your house and you can't be around other people. Like if you're not going to take it serious because you have the freedom to be at home, then you should be treated like a child. You should absolutely be treated like a kid, man. So like whatever rules the NBA implements is not to be disrespectful towards them and degrading towards them. It's because like, hey, you guys need to stay healthy, because not only are you investments to your teams, and putting money into the communities, into the franchises and all that, you also have to stay healthy because you don't know the long-term effects of this thing. So maybe you should do it for yourself if you don't want to do it for anybody else, So I think this week, a total of maybe like 6-7 games have been postponed already. And there's no date or anything on when they're going to be played again. There's no timetable for any of that. So there's just a bunch of teams right now that are short a bunch of players, and they're just out there losing. So it's doing more harm than anything. Like they're either not playing, or there's teams out there like the 76ers a few days ago who played with 7 guys. Like that's not good. Like if you're a bench player, that's good for you because you're gonna get your burn, but that's not good for your body. That's like if you haven't played, like if you played basketball and you're riding the bench and you never played, and then they put you in a game and you play 40 something minutes, that next morning, that's not gonna be a fun wake up. Your body's gonna be sore as hell, and then you got to play again, another 40 something minutes. That's not fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
I was just thinking, I like the point you made about like obviously like these bench players are gonna get their burn, but if you look at the team like the Celtics, where Jason Tatum's out, I mean it's pretty detrimental. It's pretty detrimental. However, the thing that I think is a saving grace is, again, it's like I think you alluded to it earlier. It's like, well, shit, if these guys, if this organization, I'm not saying individuals, but as the organization as a whole isn't taking this seriously, and your players are getting infected, kind of on you. Or should the argument be, is the NBA not enforcing stricter regulations? So is this the NBA's issue as a whole? It's just kind of like interesting to think about to me. It's like, is it better to shut this down for 2 weeks and then redo it and reset up shop at the bubble and then relaunch the bubble? Because I mean, the way things are going, it's like at some point you have to look out for the well-being of your players. And the big difference between the NBA and NFL is like NFL, like Goodell's just a straight up asshole, and he doesn't care about these people's health. Like straight up just doesn't care. He's like, you get on the field and play, and daddy makes his money. Like that's how it is.
Much.
But the NBA has set up this system where it's like it's the most player friendly organization in all of professional sports. Yes. So it's like, what does Adam Silver do?
I think it's that. I think it's figuring out another bubble, because clearly playing in standard environments is way too difficult. Like, even though it's like giving the players a sense of normality, which, I don't know the impact that the bubble had on some of these guys, but there were some, some of them were like battling depression. They were like extra lonely. They couldn't do like, I think there was like, I forget who it was, but like they've been doing some routine for, I think, like almost a decade, and in the bubble they weren't able to do it, and that like affected their game. Anyway, there's a lot of like mantras and routines that weren't translating well into the bubble, and I totally get that. But I think clearly establishing a sense of normality is not realistic in today's environment. I mean, I don't know how it is in other places, but the fact that in LA it's like a 1 in 3 chance, or 1 in 3 people have COVID or are testing positive for COVID,
Mm-hmm.
like it's clearly not something that the players can control themselves. It's a league problem because we as individuals aren't responsible enough. We're not even athletes in LA if we can't get it together. So
True. Imagine flying and traveling every single day, like every other day, Yeah. It's a different type of risk.
And then you also got to deal with like the NBA players' ego. Like for example, like George Hill. George Hill, a couple of days ago, the first day the NBA announced their new rules and regulations for COVID protocol, George Hill was the first to come out and talk and say that I'm a grown man. You're not going to tell me if I'm going to stay in a room or not. You're not going to limit me from what I can do, what I can't do, if I want to see my family and stuff. But he wasn't singing that same tune when he was on a good team that was in the playoffs in the bubble. Now because he's on a bad team, now all of a sudden he doesn't care and the season could go to shit for all he cares. But like it just shows like the tune between players. I'm pretty sure if you ask that same question to a guy on a playoff team, he'll have a completely different tune than what George Hill is singing right now. So it's just a matter of that too. People forget like these guys, they have egos, all of them. Even the guys that aren't the superstars, they all feel like, oh, hey man, like I'm an NBA player. You're not gonna tell me what the fuck I got to do. So people also have to remember these things. Like I'm pretty sure George Hill is not the only guy that feels that way.
For sure.
There's a bunch of them that are pissed.
And some of them don't mind paying the fine. So I don't think a fine is going to make much of a difference.
Yeah,
I don't think so either. Those guys, they're making enough money. Like, well, a $5,000 fine. Like, here you go.
Do you think it'd make more sense for them to fine the player and the organization? Because it's like it's one thing to kind of like, oh fuck it, here's my money, I don't care. But it's another thing to like fuck up at work, in a sense. Does that make sense? Or do you think these people not even care?
I think some of the front office wouldn't care either. Like they're also losing money if they have to postpone things. And from what I read, like the bubble didn't cost them. This is costing them more money than the bubble cost them because of the travel fees and because of the stays and stuff like that. And the extra precaution that they have to take now.
Testing, a lot more testing, I'm sure.
So I think that, depending on who's in your front office, I don't think they're going to care if they get fined as long as they're making some kind of money or spending less money than they were with,
So what do you guys think the NBA should do
get another bubble
to make sure that everyone is safe?
I think the bubble is the only answer.
Because I was thinking of, since this season, well, the first half of the season ends March 4th. That's when the first half stops, and then it's like the unofficial All-Star weekend since there isn't an All-Star game, which is gonna be interesting because are they still going to announce All-Stars even though there is no All-Star game? Because a lot of guys get paid bonuses based off of that.
Yeah, they definitely will be for the bonus part of it, but also, I mean, like they did it in the NBA. I'm sorry, in the NFL, they announced the Pro Bowlers. They just aren't going to have the Pro Bowl game because of that those contractual like.
You have to announce them, yeah.
Yeah, those stimulus and what is the word? But yeah, they will.
Because I was thinking like for the second half of the season, like something I thought about for the NBA was like, how about they put each conference in a bubble? So you have the Western Conference somewhere and the Eastern Conference somewhere, and you have them play by division. So each team by division you have them play, and once you're done playing against a division, you move and you move teams to the different bubbles, and you have them play the other divisions in the other conference, so that you limit travel, and then everybody just plays each other. Like it'll be like mini playoff series because you'll have to play everybody in your division and conference before you have to move on to the next conference.
Yeah.
So just like little things like that. It's things that are doable, but it just depends on how much money it costs, if they actually want to do it. Because one big bubble for 30 NBA teams in one place, that's going to be damn near impossible to do.
Yeah. So I think obviously like touched quite heavily on COVID. It'll be interesting to see what the NBA does. I think you're right. That All-Star break is a pretty interesting point, and I think the players like union or the the NBA like board of directors met today to like speak on that. So I'm sure we'll probably get more information on that this weekend. But speaking of other like hot topics in the league, the Atlanta Hawks situation, obviously, you know, John Collins came out and was critiquing Trae Young's leadership basically and said this pretty publicly, which is never good, no matter where you are in the season. Like it's just, it's not good when your second best player, arguably second best player, arguably your best player, who's also super young, says some shit about your franchise player who's super young. That's tough. That's tough to recover from. And I mean, James, what do you think? What do you think if you were in the Hawks position, what would you do? What would be your move?
From the things that I've seen in regards to that issue that's happening over there now, it's like a mixture of things. I don't know what John Collins is really upset about. Is he mad at the franchise? Is he mad at Trae Young? One report says he's mad that the Hawks didn't offer him a max deal, and then another report says that he doesn't like the way that Trae Young runs the offense. So is he mad at both? Because if he's mad at both, then it just sounds like he's gonna have to get dealt. You know? Or if he's just upset at the way Trae Young runs the offense, maybe you sit them down as a coach or as a GM or some shit. You sit them down and it's like, all right, you guys got to figure this out because you guys are clearly the top two players on our team in terms of like direction that we want to go. So maybe just have a sit down with them. Like these guys are like 21, 22 years old. Like unless you're gonna actually get into a fist fight, none of this actually matters. Just sit them down, talk about it. Like, hey man, like how else can we incorporate you, John Collins, into the offense and take away some pressure from Trae Young? Like,
I think you touched on it a little bit, and I think my perspective of it is because you kind of asked the question: is he mad about the money, not getting the money, or is he mad about the actual offense? Is what he's alluding to. I actually think he's trying to force himself to get traded because it's like, listen, if it was just the office, just go to the coach. Shit ain't that hard. Like just go talk to the coach. Which makes me believe that, like, okay, if you're airing this shit out, you obviously want to stir drama. You want to force someone's hand to get rid of someone. So I'm sure, to me, it's the money part since he was hurt last year. They drafted Okongwu with the third or fourth overall pick. Like I mean, those two things happen. There's no way, even if he was healthy, would you be happy about that as a person in his position? So I think, you know, maybe it's his agent whispering in his ear to do certain things to force the hand of the organization so that he doesn't look like a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you prove a good point, John. He's kind of he's building a lot of buzz, and at least I would think that with as good as Collins is, in order to maximize his value, he needs someone like Trae to get him going, to show off like what he's capable of producing. But if he was doing this to get a trade and he happened to be like, you know, a viable trade target, I think it'd be interesting if there was some conversations with the Lakers around it. I swear to God.
I bet you would think that's pretty interesting.
I think it would be pretty interesting.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty interesting if they had a conversation with the Pacers. So I agree. I mean,
I don't think it's as interesting though, you know.
I think I understand. Yeah, I think I understand.
But yeah, you prove a good point. I mean, if he is doing this to get, you know, a trade going.
Yeah, you know what I like? I would love to see him get traded to Detroit, which has become like this, like, for anyone. I don't even anyone besides Jeremy Grant, because like this has become a place. He has been, but again, like he was kind of outspoken behind the scenes to the organization about wanting more minutes, wanting more opportunity, wanting more green light, to kind of like dumb it down, right? And so it's like, all right, well, we're not going to give you the money and we're not going to give you that green light, so we'll let you go. We'll let you go sign wherever the fuck you want to sign. So he goes to Detroit. And it's like, I wouldn't mind finding like one shithole team to just let all these players who are like they just don't care about the winning part of the game and are just in it for the bag, and they're like, I'm just trying to make my money, which good on you. But like, let's just put y'all in one place and let you guys just figure that out on your own, and you guys can just do your thing.
Send them to Sacramento.
Yo, honestly, the more I think about it, I do feel like this John Collins in LA situation is a big possibility. I swear to God.
Let's hear it. How does it work? How does it work?
He's a free agent after this season. He turned down the $90 million extension. The Lakers front office is always looking to, upgrade and do any changes that come up to rise in the occasion.
How does that coexist with the Anthony Davis contract and position on the floor as well? Like, how do those two coexist with LeBron?
Yeah, that makes it a little bit trickier with Anthony. It makes it tricky with Anthony Davis there, because now they play the same position, and John Collins is trying to do the same thing that AD does. But
AD also just
and you have Montreal. Yeah, and John Collins wants max money. He don't want any less than that. So
yeah,
I mean, like, if you feel like that's what you're worth and you feel like that's what you want, go for it. Like, get your money, man. But at the same time, don't pull a James Harden here, and don't ruin a situation that's good in Atlanta. Like, that Atlanta team has a good future right now. They're hurt. They just recently lost Bogdanovich for who knows how long.
I think they're saying like a month and a half.
He fractured something in his knee. Rondo is hurt. Chris Dunn is hurt. Gallinari's hurt. Okongwu's hurt. They just have a lot of injuries, and now John Collins is just here, just like, well, fuck everybody else. Pay attention to me. Like,
Okongwu comes back tomorrow. I think he's going to do his debut tomorrow.
Okay, that's good.
And DeAndre Hunter's been playing really good. Like, he's been their big defensive guy.
So I guess we could say that John Collins is easily replaceable in Atlanta.
Yes.
But don't make yourself replaceable. Don't give them that option to make them replace you. But you are replaceable. They have like 4 bigs they can replace you with. They have a lot of guys they can interchange. But just don't put yourself in that situation where you make yourself a bad guy this early in your career, whether it's about money or whether it's because you have an issue with how somebody else plays. Don't do that this early in your career.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, it just doesn't make sense in LA.
Yeah.
Maybe the Spurs, but
makes sense in New York.
Lots of things make sense in New York.
Knicks, they got the space.
They got a lot of space, man. But Julius Randle's been playing well, so I don't know what they're gonna do.
Julius is playing the 3, right? Really, he's playing the fucking point.
Pretty much he's playing point guard, and that's my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare was having Julius Randle run point guard, which is the reason why the Knicks have lost like 4 in a row now.
You know what? The Knicks won't work because they just drafted Obi Toppin.
Yes. He played last night for the first time in like 10 games. I don't think he actually got on the court, though. Is
it too early to call him a bust?
Yeah, it's too early. It's the Knicks. It's the Knicks. No one that the Knicks draft you can call a bust, because when they leave New York, they get better somewhere else. So
true. What a positive outlook.
Just look at Trevor Ariza, look at Channing Frye.
I think the only time that wasn't true was Jeremy Lin.
Yes. Yeah. He hit his peak really early with the Knicks.
Yeah. Weird.
He had a couple good seasons here and there, but he did drop off there with the Knicks. But the Knicks, when they draft people, sometimes they don't turn out really well with the Knicks, and they go somewhere else and they turn out to be really good players somewhere else, or solid role players somewhere else. So one that the Knicks draft I call bust.
Yeah. Speaking of early success, should the Hornets start LaMelo and bench Devonte Graham? Because LaMelo's been playing like balling out. You say yes.
I say yes too.
I'll let you allude to that. I think no. I think let him keep coming off the bench, because there's so much less pressure coming off the bench. You have a totally different type of set of rules. You have a lot more freedom because it's not the same type of, I don't know. It's not the same type of like minute or roster like restrictions in terms of who's in the lineup at the time. So a lot of times when you're coming off the bench, like it's like you're getting a few other dudes that are just like strictly role players, and he can just kind of fuck around.
True.
He just doesn't strike me as a player that wants that though. And I feel like because he's such a bright kid, I actually think he can make the most out of like being a starter and not being intimidated by the pressure that comes with it.
Yeah, he's had pressure his entire life, more than most of the people in the league have had. So
Mhm.
he can definitely like
least
live
is
up to the
early.
moment for sure.
I personally think that they should start him. He's playing, and not only because he's playing well, but because Devonte Graham has been playing that bad. Like Devonte Graham hasn't played well at all this year. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he's had any standout games or even any standout moments where you could look at and be like, all right, we could justify keeping him here in the starting lineup. LaMelo Ball the other day had a triple double, became the youngest player in NBA history to have a triple double. He outplayed his older brother in a game. He finally got to play his older brother. He's good, man. The the kid is a great rebounder for his position. He's a great passer. He has great court vision. His decision making on offense when it comes to him scoring, he still has to improve that. But his decision making when it comes to him finding other people is good. He's a very good passer and has high IQ when it comes to making the decision to put somebody else in a position to score. But when it comes to putting himself in a position to score, he still makes very poor decisions, which comes with his age and maturity and the team and all that kind of stuff. But I think they should definitely start him. I think he wants that pressure. His dad for sure wants him to have that pressure. His dad wants him out there starting. So I think they should start him, throw him in there. I think if the Hornets do end up starting LaMelo Ball, I think they'll have a way better chance of actually staying in the playoff race.
You know
or
what?
just competing.
You know what? Like came to my mind was if he doesn't come, if he keeps coming off the bench, has anyone ever won Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man in the same season? I know that Ben Gordon won Sixth Man his rookie year, but I don't know if he got the Rookie of the Year that year.
Which is interesting because if he's good enough to win Sixth Man of the Year,
how does he not get Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year?
Well, I'm trying to see.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back and see who won that year because that's interesting. Also about Rookie of the Year.
Oh, a guy named LeBron James got it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ben Gordon was not going to win Rookie of the Year that year. There was too many guys in that class.
D Wade
played well.
Bosh.
D Wade,
Melo,
Bosh. Yeah.
So interesting. Am I speaking? That doesn't seem right. Hang on a sec.
What? Ben Gordon?
Yeah. Let me just see. Anyways.
Because LaMelo Ball, he is right now the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year, but I think the guy that low-key has him beat right now, like just by like a smidge, Tyrese Halliburton, man, of Sacramento.
Oh my God,
he is good.
He's amazing, and I think he has a good chance. Let me correct myself here. So Ben Gordon was the year after LeBron and all those dudes.
Okay,
he was the sixth man. You'll never guess who was rookie year. Rookie year was Emeka Okafor.
He was trying to come back this year to the NBA.
Second overall pick by the Bobcats out of Connecticut. So that's strange. Anyways,
and it's funny because they played on the same UConn
college team. Yep, exactly.
They played on the same team.
So
and
that
they won
draft
a championship, right?
Yeah, they did. That was Dwight Howard went first, Emeka went second, Ben Gordon third, Sean Livingston went fourth overall. Who I lost a bet. Must be the I lost a bet to Mel Daniels, who was the old director of player development for the Pacers. I bet that Courtney Lee would be a better NBA player than Sean Livingston. They were seniors in high school when I was a freshman in college, and I went to this the Indianapolis. They have what's called Circle City Classic, where it's like the best Indianapolis schools play the best school from Illinois, the best school from Ohio, the best school from Cincinnati or from Kentucky, and like the best school from Michigan. So like those schools come in to play our 4 best schools. And Livingston played for Peoria, went to Peoria, is from Peoria, Illinois, and just happened to sit next to Mail Daniels. And he was obviously scouting him for the fucking draft. And I didn't know who he was, but like there's some guy talking basketball. And I was like, there's no fucking way. So me and him get into this like debate. I was like, the guy can't make a basket outside of 3 feet and he's 6'6". He's like, in Mel Daniels' response to me was, yeah, but he has the best court vision since Magic Johnson. Like we can teach
Livingston?
Yeah. And like, we can teach this motherfucker to shoot. Like there's no one since Magic Johnson with that kind of vision. And like the entire game, he was just dicing up Pike. And Pike is where Courtney Lee went to school. It's where like that team was ridiculous. The Teagues went to that school. It's a nasty Indiana high school basketball program. But anyways, that's a question.
So who would you say? So who would you say had a better career now that you look at it?
Well,
Lee or Livingston?
I would have to say Livingston because he's got so many rings. However, I think Courtney Lee had a bigger role and played bigger roles on teams, whereas like Livingston was a really good bench guy for the Warriors and like hit some fucking massive shots in the playoffs when like the Warriors needed big shots. So yes. I would have to say I was wrong. R.I.P. Mel Daniels.
Separate it.
Yeah, I mean,
he passed
you can't
away?
argue that. Yeah, he passed away last year.
Oh shit! Man. Rest in peace.
Yeah, sorry. So off topic there, but it would be interesting to see if LaMelo gets 6-man and Rookie of the Year at the same, because that's never happened before.
That's never happened. That would be very interesting, and we will never hear the last of it from LeVar Ball.
No, he would instantly be the GOAT if that happened in LeVar Ball's eyes.
And LeVar Ball's narrative will change. Don't ever start my boy again. He's gonna win 6-man of the year and Rookie of the Year every year.
It's been so nice not to have him in major headlines.
Ugh.
I think COVID has prevented that because no one's interviewing him. But best believe when all this goes away, LeVar Ball will be on First Take yelling at somebody for whatever reason.
Would it make sense to have LeVar on permanently with Skip and Stephen A?
No.
Would that be the most ear-wrenching TV show?
That would be. You know what, Loki? I feel like he'll be more on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon because I feel like they have a better relationship over there at Fox. But that would be very like they'd be like
that'd be one of the worst things on TV. That should be our like types of like punishment. That could be torture.
That could be the torture. In other news, the Utah Jazz are doing some good shit in their community. The Utah Jazz are offering scholarships to underrepresented students in their community for every win they have this year. So I think the Jazz have 6 or 7 wins this year so far. So that's 6 to 7 scholarships they've already given out to kids in Utah. So that's something that I think other teams should follow and do around the league. Just give out scholarships or just do things like that for kids in your community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was a great thing. I mean, he's such an interesting opportunity too for him because he's Quadrix founder, and it's like a family-owned business. So Quadrix is like a survey business that I guess a bunch of brands and industries use to collect different kinds of research. And so like him, his dad, and his brother found this company, and his dream has always been to own a basketball team. And it says that he's always fought for like social justice. I'd be interested to know like what other commitments or how vocal he's been to some of these issues. But I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing for a great trend, so to speak, for other owners to follow, because there is a lot of underrepresented talent that is overlooked just because of lack of opportunities, and it's the shorter end of the stick. So it's nice to see someone stepping up and offering that.
Yeah, I think my only question is it only scholarships to BYU, or is it just general scholarships to people in need?
That's a very good question
That
because
BYU,
I wouldn't want to go to a Mormon school.
yeah, I mean, I
So
don't
this is
believe
what he
in.
said.
That's not my faith.
This is what he said on Woj's podcast. He said, "We have equity problems across pay, across race within our communities. And I just want to look back and say, hey, I did everything I possibly could to make the world a more equitable place. Our group plans on using the Jazz to, in this platform, be able to drive proper changes that, frankly, should have been done a long time ago, but to help better our communities. One of the things that we're doing is for every Jazz win this year, we're offering a 4-year scholarship to an underrepresented or minority kid who can now go to college for every single win. So yeah, I guess it's
That's amazing.
any school.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I
That's
think,
fire.
yeah, I feel like all professional teams that have such a platform and have such, are so profitable as they are, should do something like that. And realistically, that's a donation. It's a write-off for these corporations anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really not that crazy for them to do that. I think that's an awesome thing that the Jazz are doing. And it just really goes to show how amazing that organization is. I mean, every person that I know that's gone through there, either it's a player or someone that's currently working there, like absolutely says it's one of the best places to work within the league. So it shows, it trickles down from the top. It's what we've been talking about with a lot of social things, right? It's like it trickles down from the top. We need good leadership. It's crazy.
It's true. We do.
Good. You guys want to get into our best and worst fits of the week?
Let's get into that. Let's
James,
get into that, man.
You want to start?
Let's start it off, man. Let me do this. All right. Let me get these pulled up right here. All right. So my 3 favorite outfits of the week of this past NBA season. Here we go. PJ Tucker tonight wearing the Texas Longhorns starter jacket with the black jeans and then the custom Jordan 1 to honor his alma mater, the Texas Longhorns. So he got a pair of like white and like I guess brown orange Jordan 1s to represent his alma mater, which is the University of Texas. I thought it went well with his jacket that he put on. I wonder where he found that jacket too, man, because it's not like you attend that school and they just give you those jackets. So that's a good thrift find if you're a thrifter.
I think we've seen throughout the couple of years that he's all about that fashion game. Like the shoes are always on point. I have a feeling he's about that thrift game too, or has somebody in his team that is. So good call. That shit's tight.
He takes it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I have here is Chris Paul from a few days ago when he was wearing the red trench coat. The red trench coat looks like it's detachable along the waist and you could turn it into a shorter jacket, which is super cool. I'm all about like technicality and things like that. Like he has a trench coat now, and then on another day he could just like I guess unzip that or unbutton it and he has a regular shorter jacket. That's cool. He keeps on he keeps on going with his HBCU hoodies that he's been doing and HBCU like apparel that he's been wearing throughout the season, and he did last season as well too. He's wearing a Winston-Salem hoodie, and then he's wearing a pair of Jordan 3s that came out last year with the denim cement print. I forget what the name of those were, but those were cool. Those weren't a bad pair of Jordans. This is a good fit that he had on. And then lastly, another one of my favorites is Devonte Graham, when also he had on his alma mater jacket, Kansas, from when they went to the Final Four in 1993 in New Orleans. And then he had on the Union Ones, the blue colorway to go with that jacket. So that looked really good together. That the jacket, the hat, and the sneakers all together. That shit was cool.
Yeah.
And now time for my least favorites. Here we go. The guy's making a return. He's a constant here. Willie Cauley-Stein. He is wearing, I think those are, if I'm not mistaken, Giuseppe Sonotti shoes, I think, or those are John Buscemi. Is one or the other. I can't really tell. Those are terrible shoes. Whatever shoes, whatever which one of those two shoes it is, he should not wear again. The pants he's wearing are way too tight and too short for him. The crew neck he's wearing is terrible. Willie Cauley Stein, you need if this is all you doing it by yourself, you need a stylist, man. You need a stylist. You have enough time. It's not like you play 40 minutes a game. Like you can find someone to help you out. Another one. Oh man, this was awful. Bismack Biyombo. He was dressed like, remember that photo shoot that Kobe did back in the day when he was wearing that white stuff? He had like that white hat and he had on the white sweater, and people always bring it up to make fun of Kobe.
Yeah.
That kind of looked like what Bismack Biyombo was wearing. It was like he looked like a character out of Assassin's Creed too. And then I believe he had on the Dior Chucks to make the cipher complete. So it was bad. It was a terrible outfit. I can't wait for the viewers to see it in the video when they actually see how the outfit looks like. And then lastly, I have Jackson Hayes. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. He has on a Kith box logo hoodie that was custom by some guy, and he split the crew neck in half, and he put Dragon Ball Z on one side, and then he put the remainder was a gray crew neck on one side and a Dragon Ball Z on the other side, and then the Kith box logo in the middle. None of the colors make sense together, none of it. And then to make it worse, he had on a pair of printed Louis Vuitton pants. Those pants look terrible with the print he had up top, and then he had on the MCA off-white Air Forces that came out for All-Star Weekend last year, or I don't think All-Star Weekend, but one of those things. And then he had on a great one of those lunch boxes that like your mom gives you when you're in 5th grade. And you just carrying it, you're kind of ashamed to have it in your hand. Like, yo, my man, you're making too much money. Go get a toiletry bag or something. Go spend a little extra dollars and get a better bag than that. But also, while you're at it, throw away that outfit you're wearing and buy a brand new one.
Oh, shots.
Man, it was bad. Those outfits are terrible, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad ones this week, I think.
Yeah, there were a lot of bad ones.
Denise, you want me to go or do you want to go?
You go.
Go ahead, John.
All right, cool. So my third favorite was D'Angelo D'Angelo Russell. Pretty simple, but I think, it's kind of hard to make these super casual, like athleisure fits look good, but I think he did a pretty solid job. He wore an oversized like turtleneck with just like a simple, like well-fitting gray sweatpant, which is like a matching like a pink Converse, because the turtleneck was like a blush color. So very simple. I mean, nothing crazy, but it just kind of pulled it off. And he had like the matching, like the lenses on his glasses were like a maroon as well. So like you have that same hue of red to pink, which I thought was clean and very well executed. Next, my second favorite was Kevin Love. Kind of a funny fit. It was just like a black hoodie, obviously with the Christian Bale's face from American Psycho. And I assume most people know, but like, I think it's kind of him kind of poking fun and making light of his constant struggles with it's kind of like, I don't want to say depression, but he has mental issues that he's constantly struggling with in his own mental health. And I think it's a kind of cool way for him to poke fun at that. He paired it with a nice pair of like dress slacks, like a pinstripe, like a tonal pinstripe dress slack and a white shoe, hat matched, mask matched. The toiletry bag didn't quite match, which is kind of probably why it wasn't one of my favorites. But I just kind of like when people kind of like subtly poke fun at themselves with their fit. I think, That's pretty chill. And my favorite for the week was again, this was slim pickings this week. There weren't many great fits. There were a lot more bad ones than there were good ones. So my favorite was Blake Griffin, just kind of a very subtle, made it look super effortless. It's like a vintage distressed hoodie. I put a plaid button-down shirt on top, and like the plaid has like this subtle touch of pink. He wore a black denim, and then he wore the Travis Scotts with the pink laces and the Travis Scott to kind of pull out the pink on the plaid shirt. So I thought that was pretty clean.
That was good.
Yeah, I like that fit. It definitely wasn't like, game changing by any means, but he just made that shit look really effortless, and everything fit him really well. And I think that should look really good. Now my worst, starting with my third worst favorite. And this one, it sucks because the fit on this was actually, the actual outfit was pretty cool, but he absolutely ruined it with the shoes. So Aaron Gordon, and the ironic thing is he posted this fit to his Twitter, and his text says, "It's starting to get janky. I'd be cool with a bubble if it was in the Bahamas or Hawaii, and we got to bring our best fits to wear on League Fits show and tell every Tuesday and Thursday." Now, obviously, he didn't actually say the last part. Our boy Ian over at League Fits added that last part. However, I think he I wasn't sure if he was like trolling him or what, but he's wearing this vintage Magic t-shirt, a vintage Magic starter jacket, which like, actually I think it's like probably like their actual like warm-ups, maybe from like his rookie year or some shit, but it looks pretty good with denim. And then, so everyone knows the Magic's colors from the 90s are blue, black, and like metallic silver. He's wearing the gold patent toe Jordan 1s. And to me, it's like, you just don't mix gold and silver. That's just crazy.
And then the Jordan 1 lows too. And then the Jordan 1 lows. It's like, you can't, come on, dog.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little bit more respectful.
Yeah, there aren't very many Jordan 1 lows you can really pull.
No.
It's like it's a very short list. My second worst was Kuzma, which is crazy. It ends my 2-week streak of having him in my favorites. But it's interesting because I've seen a few guys wear like NBA branded clothing, which is bizarre to me. So I feel like the league is now tapping into his team, being like, "Hey, can we market you on the tunnel?" Which is, kind of interesting. But he just wore this very, very strange hat, which isn't very commonly seen. By, I think it's called Loverboy, but it's like it's a fox type knit hat. So it's like within the vein of Vivienne Westwood, where she does all those where she used to do like the cat ears on the hats and shit. But it doesn't quite resonate. It doesn't quite look as cool on a cream colored knit hat. I mean, it's styled well actually, but it's just, that hat is just something else. Maybe probably shouldn't be worn on a 6'8" man.
No.
Moving on to my least favorite, and we touched on this little detail last week, but Montrezl Harrell wore a gray sweatsuit, and again, you can tell he wanted to wear these shorts so bad. He thought these shorts were so hot. He was like, fuck it, I need to wear these shorts. Put together an outfit for me. And his stylist was like, "All right, let me just throw this gray champion sweat set together. This shit'll be tight." It's not.
The lighting in the photo is fire.
But
the outfit ain't.
Yeah, that like the photo itself is actually a pretty great photo. Kudos to the Lakers. Their walkout is pretty nice. I do like that he styled like this silk scarf with it. However, just wait. like you got like
it's
maybe a
right
month.
Now. It's warm.
Yeah,
now. It's
like
warm
yeah,
right now.
it's also you're in LA, guy. Like, come on. Like, what are you doing here? Or just, I mean, if 65 degrees is too cold for you to wear shorts, maybe just wait till you go to Florida. Like, just chill, man. So to me, that shit is terrible. That's some like first day of school in first grade, living in the Midwest, being like, "Mom, fuck it, I want to wear these shorts." And you have no other option. So you throw on those sweatpants because it's cold outside. But that's a bad one. That's a really bad one. What about you, Denise?
I feel like I'll start off with my bad because I also have Trez. I actually have my bad. We were talking about off camera keeping things balanced. All my bad fits, like my trash fits, all came from the Lakers this time. I love the Lakers, but it just didn't work out.
Drama.
Didn't work out. So I have Trez on here too, and my problem with it is it just is an undecisive outfit. Like he was just like, yo, I'm gonna pull up with 2 outfits at once. And I don't like the trend. I can't. It's already uncomfortable. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's uncomfortable to have to wear 2 sets of clothes depending on like the brand. But I like to layer like my leggings. Excuse me. The same way that some of these athletes do it. Like you layer leggings with your under your basketball shorts. Like you have your tights. You have your tights under your basketball shorts, right? No big deal. If that's the vision, if it's like, yo, I already do this on the court, my guy, it is very different. Cotton and
my guy.
whatever, like the elastic material, the skin type material is very different. And yes, shout out to the Lakers for having great lighting, great effects. They managed to make a trash photo look like a masterpiece. Like this looks like oh man, they're warming us up with like some wild fits, and this is like one of those models that's just like you're gonna forget about him. This outfit it annoys me because I know we're gonna see more of it. So that was one.
That's twice already this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is Kuz, but not Kuz with the hat. Kuz with the sandals. He has like
really
these
bad.
He has like these eye slides, and then he has it's just everything about it just looks like, man, I gotta go play today, let me just get up and pull up what's already on the floor. Like it's unorganized, it's lazy.
It looks sloppy.
That's a college team fit is what that is. Like he's wearing Utah slides. Right? Yeah, he's wearing Utah slides with the varsity jacket. It looks like he like straight up was like going from his class that he cut out of early.
Like the clothes was all on the floor.
Yeah, it's bad.
He's wearing Gerbeau jeans in 2021. Where do you find Gerbeau jeans?
He got them from Drake.
Oh my God.
I don't know, but it just didn't work out.
How about
another?
Let's talk about that though. That's like the 6th varsity jacket I've seen worn in the past 2 weeks. I think Jordan Poole with the Warriors was the first one to do it, where he wore his Michigan varsity jacket. Do you think Kuz went out and bought a varsity jacket just because he liked the way it looked on Jordan Poole? He's like, oh, I could do that. Let me do that. Because D'Angelo Russell did it also. What's his name? PJ Tucker didn't wear the varsity jacket, but he did the Texas team jacket. I wonder if like Kuz saw those 2 guys doing it, thought it looked, because like D'Angelo Russell actually made it look good. Like the fit D'Angelo Russell did, it looked really good.
Whoever D'Angelo Russell stylist is, like they understand his style.
His style, yes.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, no.
I don't understand. This is funny.
It's like a whole nother language that I'm just like. And then the last Laker, this one was tough. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. Because this is a very nice guy, very polite, very like, man, you want to have this guy at your Thanksgiving table. Jared Dudley. I'm convinced his stylist doesn't care for him, doesn't know him. They probably Skype. He hasn't seen his body. He can't style his body. And kind of to your point, John, you mentioned this off camera, like not only can he not dress his body, but he can't dress his age. And I think that's why like the outfits are looking like, damn son, like it's okay. We're all getting older. I'm changing on my style. You grow out of some things. Some of this clothes, it just doesn't go. There's a player that's in my best fits that I think he could pull off that outfit a lot better than this guy. So that was my trash fit.
Yeah, because the fit ain't bad. It's just,
it's him.
Yeah,
it's him.
Yeah.
He has a good heart, though. That's the one that was tough for me to even just put him on the bad one. He's a nice guy.
I don't want to say you're a nice person. I don't want to say you dress poorly.
I would imagine. Okay, so onto my best fits. this fit is only good because it reminds me of church. And I just remember growing up like, oh man, I'm gonna put my Sunday best to go to church. And he probably did this because he has a grown woman, Malik
Beasley. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say Malik Beasley. I saw that and I was like, it looks like he's going to church. I swear to God.
This outfit I can actually see
Jared
Dudley pull off even better. But you know, he has his grown man swag on. I'm actually not mad at it. Like the scarf matches, even the sophomore earmuffs match. Like you could tell.
He definitely violated CDC protocol. That's not a mask.
Yeah, it's not a mask. It for sure is not a mask. But you could tell Larsa was like, you know, maybe you can take my scarf and you can. Okay, we'll get you some.
Oh no. Junior or senior?
Oof.
Definitely not senior. That's it. I'm pretty sure Scotty's still wearing baggy clothes.
I mean, even the bag match. So like everything to me worked out with this outfit. It's not a Malik Beasley outfit. It's more of a Jared Dudley outfit, but it's a clean, well tailored fit. Next for me is Kelly Oubre. I think that anyone that can, first of all, I think he has very unique style, but I think that the shirt that he's wearing, I was able to check out the brand and the social messages that they put on their clothes. And it's done in an authentic way, so it's like by people of color.
I think it's his brand. I think it's his brand. I think Dope Soul is his brand.
No, No Noise, the shirt brand.
T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has like Rosa Parks on there. And yeah, I think the whole fit looks nice. It makes sense. It's organized. It's color coordinated. I don't mind it. And then, John, this is where we're alike again. So I'm going to tell you right now, John, you're a lot more polite than me. I think that I had a hard time finding a third good fit. I almost came on here and just gave you two. But I guess we can't all be great. That's all I'm going to say. We can't all be great. Sometimes good is just enough. And I think you worded it well and just saying like, this guy doesn't try too hard. Blake Griffin. He didn't try too hard. He pulled off a regular fit. It's a little boring for me. But it's good. It matches. I don't see the effort, but it's polished.
That's the point. It's effortless.
It's elegant and effortless.
Elegant and effortless.
So those are mine.
You know, I liked, we didn't need it. I don't know if you didn't notice, you didn't want to call it out, but I liked the mask that Kelly Oubre was wearing. He did like one of the Shaw cover mask, and it's the Bane from Dark Knight. It's his face.
Oh, that's dope.
So it's the Bane mask, which I actually think is pretty fucking tough. That's the kind of shit, like if you're going into a game, that's the kind of shit I want to see. That's the kind of mood I want from my teammates to have. Like this motherfucker dressing in here like Bane. That's the kind of behavior I'm going to have tonight. I like that.
Does he have a stylist? Because he has good style, though.
He does not.
Oh, good job. Kudos to him.
Yeah,
Kelly?
He's tough to get to.
Well, that's about it. I guess that's all our fits.
It was a good show.
All right, y'all. This is episode 5 of Through the Hallway. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Be safe, stay clean.
Peace.
Stay clean.